Prelude. Welcome to aikdastaan. Before we embark on the journey of spine-chilling suspense that lies ahead, let's first trace its roots. Today, I bring forth a tale shared by one of our subscribers, Sarah Cameron, a narrative she claims to be the most terrifying experience of her life. As the vessel for the storyteller, I present this account with a belief in its truth, leaving it to you, the audience, to discern its authenticity. The story begins. The rain drummed relentlessly against the windshield as she navigated her way from Singapore back to Malaysia. It was a journey she'd made countless times before, but tonight, the downpour seemed heavier, more ominous. The wipers struggled to clear her view, casting eerie shadows across the desolate road ahead. As she drove, her gaze flickered to a car parked on the side of the road, its hood raised in silent distress. Concern tugged at her, prompting her to slow down, but as she drew closer, she noticed something unsettling. There was no one in or around the vehicle. Deciding it was best not to linger in the desolate stretch of road, she continued her journey, albeit with a nagging sense of unease, the glow of her headlights cutting through the rain-soaked darkness. Yet as the kilometers stretched on, an ominous realization dawned upon her. The distance to her destination remained unchanged, frozen at 155 kilometers. Her reliance on Google Maps proved to be her undoing. Despite driving for what felt like an eternity, the distance to her destination remained unchanged. Panic started to set in as she realized her data wasn't working, and her phone screen was frozen on the same spot. With no other option, she pressed on, hoping to stumble upon a solution or a sign of civilization. Miles passed with nothing but the rhythmic thrum of rain against metal. Then, like a beacon in the night, a dilapidated gas station emerged from the obscurity of the storm. Relief flooded her as she pulled into the deserted lot, hoping to find someone who could provide directions. The solitude of the station unnerved her as she scanned the empty pumps and deserted shop. Her unease deepened when the car she had passed earlier pulled in, parking a few spots down, its presence a chilling echo of her own. Heart-pounding, she attempted to fix her phone. As she fumbled with her phone in the dim light, a knock shattered the silence, sending a jolt of fear coursing through her veins. Startled by the sudden intrusion, she peered through the misted window. A man's face materialized, a forced smile stretched across his features. "Can you help me with directions?" His voice cut through the silence, sending a shiver down her spine. Rolling down the window slightly, she responded, "I'm sorry. I'm just as lost as you are," her voice wavering. The man's smile faltered for a moment before he bid her goodnight and retreated to his car. After a brief pause, she braved the rain and hurried towards the gas station store, hopeful to find solace and assistance for directions. However, her optimism faded as she stepped inside to find the store eerily deserted, with barren shelves and lifeless aisles. Desperation clawed at her as she approached the counter, praying for a sign of assistance. With determination, she pressed on, her footsteps echoing in the silence of the empty store. Leaning over the counter, she glanced behind it, half expecting to see a store clerk ready to assist. Yet to her dismay, the counter stood empty, devoid of any presence. A chill ran down her spine as she heard the creak of the door behind her, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. Whirling around, her eyes widened in horror as she came face to face with the man from earlier, his drenched figure looming ominously in the doorway. His presence was suffocating, his demeanor cold and predatory. The man's features were obscured by the shadows, his long hair matted against his face, his beard glistening with rainwater. Her heart pounded with dread as she instinctively took a step back, her mind racing with fear-fueled thoughts. Despite her apprehension, she summoned every ounce of courage within her and attempted to slip past the man. Surprisingly, the man made no move to stop her, his gaze following her every move with an unsettling intensity. As she hurried back to her car, a sense of dread washed over her, accompanied by the unmistakable sound of footsteps closing in behind her. With a surge of adrenaline, she raced towards her car, the pounding rain masking the sound of her frantic breaths. Finally reaching her car, she threw open the door and leaped inside, her breath coming in ragged gasps. As she frantically turned the key in the ignition, the world seemed to slow to a crawl. Just then she heard it, the sharp click of the door latch, followed by the chilling sound of someone trying to force their way in. But in a stroke of luck, her car was equipped with auto-locking doors, a feature that now proved to be her saving grace. With a sense of relief flooding over her, she looked up to see the man outside, his face contorted with rage as he desperately pulled at the door handle. The car rocked violently under his assault, the sound of metal against metal echoing in the night. Her heart pounded in her chest as she gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles turning white with tension. With a surge of determination, she shifted the car into gear and slammed her foot down on the accelerator. The engine roared to life, the wheels screeching against the rain-soaked pavement as she tore out of the gas station with reckless abandon. Through the blur of raindrops on the windshield, she caught a glimpse of the man's furious face fading into the distance, consumed by the darkness of the night. As she merged back onto the highway, her mind reeled with the horror of what had just transpired. What were the man's intentions? Why had he targeted her? The questions swirled in her mind, but one thing was certain: she was safe, and she would never forget the chilling encounter that had unfolded in the stormy night. Thank you for watching aikdastaan, where every tale is a testament to the human spirit and every voice resonates with the truth as they perceive it.